Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Cobra Kai, Episode 7. So, I may have found a series of opportunities, I guess you could say, where I would be able to record. I won't share the details specifically here, but some opportunities where I'll be able to record in here in the living room and everything, and I won't have to change too much. But obviously you're seeing this the week after that poll went up and everything, so this is just something I don't know if will be consistent yet as of recording this, so just letting you know that ahead of time. But that all being said, last time we had Johnny having to deal with being a teacher to more than just one or two students, and it wasn't so easy for him, and we even had a little bit of backstory revealing that he wasn't always a bully, that he was originally the kid to a very well-off couple of parents who was not looked at the greatest by his father or by other kids even. And he started going to Cobra Kai to basically do something. And we know how it ended up turning out and how it's affected his life ever since. And his son started working at Daniel's dealership and is clearly going to be learning karate from him now. So a lot of interesting stories. I like what they're doing with Miguel and Sam as well. They're super cute together. And it's super believable. There's been plenty of good build-up to it. I really just enjoy the multiple sides to this. The presentation of it all, the acting, everything is really well done with this series. I'm really impressed. And so we're going to get on with it and see what this episode has in store for us. I believe there's 10 episodes this season. Yeah, there should be 10. So we're getting there in the second half, and so I assume by some point there's going to be another confrontation between both sides, Johnny's Cobra Kai and Daniel's Miyagi-Do. So I assume that's where this season's going to kind of connect with at the end. Either way, let us get this started, hope for the best, and see what this episode has in store. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, maybe it's just the sap in me who likes feel-good stories with characters, overcoming the odds and succeeding. Maybe it's just that side of me, but this is honestly my favorite episode so far. We had 3 separate stories in this episode, and we saw all of them be extremely successful and extremely positive, and I know not all of this series is going to be like that. I understand that there's going to be falls, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be issues that come about, especially with characters like Johnny, who is growing, but he's still got issues for sure. Hell, that is displayed in this episode with the entire punching in the face thing and the blood. Lots of blood, apparently. But yeah, there's legitimate character growth here that I adore. And on top of it, it's we see 3 big success stories again in this episode. So we see at the beginning of this episode, as it starts off, Robbie is training with Daniel and learning the same kind of stuff. It's the exact same kind of stuff we saw Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi teaching Daniel in the first Karate Kid. The entire wax on, wax off stuff and everything else. Just the way you move, the way you position your hands and everything. And we see Robbie gets angry with it at first. And Daniel is okay with that. He lets it happen because he's been there. Like, even the line, like, you're just making me do your chores. I believe Daniel said practically the same thing in the original. So then he tells, at training, he tells Robbie, do these movements. Do the wax on, wax off. And so he goes at him, and Robbie is able to dodge these moves. And so Daniel starts getting faster, and Robbie is dodging and blocking faster. And it's like, he gets it. He understands it. And they are forming a connection, just like Miguel is with Johnny. Robbie is forming a genuine connection with Daniel. And it's really cool seeing that parallel there. And we see Robbie gets it. So much so that he actually starts genuinely appreciating Daniel. And so when his friends want to break into the dealership and steal parts and stuff, he's like, no, I don't want to do this. And so they threaten and blackmail him. Though when that night comes, he does confront them and tells them, no, he's not going to do it. Even though earlier in the day he did get the code and everything, he realized this is not something he wants to do. And so he's not going to. And he tells them this to their face. They attack him. Because they actually are definitely worse than he is. And he defends against them, and although they do overpower him, because he's still new at this, he does get them to run away by pointing out the security camera. But it's a big victory, a big success, because he stood his ground. And this was caught on camera. He stood against these two assholes who are trying to force him into something horrible, into doing something really just wrong on all levels. And in the end, he stood his ground and said, no, I'm not going to stand for this anymore. And yeah, part of that is just because he has respect for this place and for Daniel now. Yeah, of course it is. But in the end, he still did it. He still said that. It still counts. And it's definitely character progression and growth in a very positive manner for him. And then we had Miguel and Sam's portion of the episode. So Miguel, on kind of some coaxing from Johnny, decides to ask Sam out. He very much likes her and wants to go out with her. So at first she says no, but not because she doesn't like him or anything, but specifically because she doesn't feel like she's ready. With her breakup with Kyler still being fresh, it's hard on her. She wants to take some time away. And that's 100% fair, and he even respects that. He does go back and try again, though. But he does it in a respectable way. He doesn't like try to force it or anything, or try to be sly about it necessarily. He just goes up to her and is like, what if it's not actually a date? Do you want to just hang out like as friends? And she accepts. She's like, okay. If it's not a date, if it's just as friends, okay. They go to this place. Again, on Johnny's coaxing. Originally, he was going to take her to an observatory, have some chocolates and everything, because she likes that kind of stuff, which would have been fine, would have been great. But on Johnny's coaxing, Miguel takes her to a mini golf and arcade, which I think was in the first movie, but I'm not 100% sure. But he takes her there and has a great time. They have mini golf, they play games, and they're just having a blast. And it's just overall fantastic. And so afterwards, they're having some fun, and they start talking about karate, and he's like positioning her and stuff, she knocks him down, and kisses him, and it's just like it's just a success on all levels. Like their relationship is a go, basically. I mean, I don't know that for sure. There's obviously a lot of reasons it may not be, and that's perfectly fine. But it's very clear they do like each other, and unlike with Kyler, it's also very clear that he is a good person who respects her and treats her with genuine, like, honesty, and like he's a good person. uh and again, as I said in the reaction, the actors have great chemistry. They work so well off of each other. It makes the relationship between these characters super believable and likable. Like you root for them so much, and it just makes it like really like praiseworthy in its handling. I think they really handled this exceptionally well. And then we have the Johnny stuff. So Johnny finds out that Cobra Kai has received a lifetime ban from entering the All-State tournament. He wants to enter for obvious reasons, and so he's going to appeal the decision by going to a meeting for the board. And so he's originally going to go there and punch them in the face, which is stupid. But Miguel teaches him to just step back and handle it smart. Be smart about it. Just handle it in a more laid back manner. Don't just be aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. And he tells Johnny to, like, if you get too angry, just ball up your fist like you're going to punch somebody, but don't actually follow through. Just squeeze your fist, and which is a legitimate thing. Like, this is something I'd been taught throughout my life. Like, if you're angry, just ball up and squeeze your fist. Like, it's something I've done many times, and it works. It's a healthier way to relieve your stresses and angers. And some people sometimes need to take it further, and they'll have like a stress ball or something to fiddle with their fingers, something that just takes their mind off of the anger. And that's extremely smart. And so seeing it put into play here and seeing it actively used by Johnny is fantastic. It's a great concept that is utilized wonderfully. So Johnny goes to this meeting, and they're surprised by it too. But Daniel is there because, of course, he's part of the board. It just makes sense. And he doesn't want Johnny and Cobra Kai to be allowed back. But the board is willing to hear Johnny out. And so he's honest with them. Despite how much, honestly, kind of an asshole Daniel was being, Johnny stays calm, respectful, and just speaks honestly from his heart. Telling them that he's kind of changing these kids' lives, and he is. But they're also changing his. And they are. This is all true. And he keeps out certain details, of course. Like the way he's been training them. But he does get some people to talk about it, to think about it. And although we have one guy who just automatically sides with Daniel, they agree to take a vote. And it's successful. Johnny and Cobra Kai are allowed back in the tournament. Also, we found out that apparently Kreese is dead. Like, so that's a thing. So I guess he won't be returning at any point. And John Silver, who I believe was from the third movie, was also brought up. Or was it John? No, Terry Silver. Silver was brought up, and I think he's from the third movie. And if I remember right, he was scary. It's definitely been a lot longer since I've seen the third movie, but if I remember Silver correctly, I remember him being quite scary comparatively to even Kreese. So that's interesting that he was brought up. And especially, yeah, because Johnny doesn't know him, I think that is correct. Johnny said he didn't, but Um, but either way, I really like what they've been doing with this. This episode definitely had our like a bunch of these big victories, but you could kind of say there was one failure as well with Daniel. But the problem is, Daniel's failure was brought on by his own issues. Daniel was in the wrong, 100%. He was trying to stop Cobra Kai from being allowed back in the tournaments, like purely on spite. It was purely out of spite because of, well, probably because of the dick on the billboard, honestly. But also just because of Johnny's history with him. Like, it was purely biased, and because of that, honestly, it shouldn't have been considered. Like, justly, it wasn't right of him to try and influence that by pure bias, and it was very obvious it was pure bias. And I get it. What Johnny had done to Daniel when they were young, when they were teenagers, yeah, I get it. I understand why Daniel still has some hang-ups there. But he is 100% not being fair here. He's just automatically assuming that Johnny's growth and that Johnny being nice even is him pretending. He automatically assumes that Johnny just has no room to grow. That Johnny can't become better. And he's really just being a piece of shit, honestly. And I think that that's the point, though. We've seen how bad Johnny can be, and we also have to see how bad Daniel can be. We have to show both of their downfalls in order for both of them to grow and be brought up. And by the time this series eventually ends, I know it's, I believe season 4 just aired. By the time this series eventually ends, no matter how many seasons it goes, it's both of these characters are going to be in much better places and probably be friends, just like the actors are in real life. Both Ralph Macchio and William Zabka are really good friends in real life. They're actually really close, and they like to rib at each other a lot from some of the videos and interviews I've seen. Like I even saw a video where they where it was like from How I Met Your Mother, and they were on that show as themselves, and he was William Zabka was as himself, but also pretending to be just like Johnny, and he was going after like Daniel or something. I don't remember the exact thing that happened, but because I don't watch How I Met Your Mother, but yeah, it's like that's really funny to me. And they're also big fans of Andrew Garfield, who is a big fan of them. So I remember I saw that video. That was really fun. When Andrew Garfield was geeking out over getting a video message from the cast of Cobra Kai because he's such a huge fan of Cobra Kai. That was fantastic. And honestly, I'm becoming a huge fan of Cobra Kai. This series is fantastic. It's so well executed. It's so well written. It's wonderfully directed. The actors are really damn good. All of them. Not just the returning legacy characters, but every actor in this is doing such a phenomenal job. Even smaller characters like Eli, even he is so likable because the actor does a great job at portraying him. And it's wonderful to see that. And characters who are supposed to be unlikable are unlikable in the right ways. Robbie's friends turned enemies, I guess. Yeah, they're shitty, but in the best way possible, the best written way possible. You hate them, but it's obvious you're supposed to hate them, and the way it's handled is wonderfully done. And so I just really appreciate how all of this was executed. I can't wait to see how this builds up to the tournament now, because that's clearly where this is going to end the season off at. But I'm thinking this time Cobra Kai is going to win. And that's just going to eat away at Daniel. I'm thinking Cobra Kai is going to win. I think it's going to be Miguel who specifically does. I could be wrong. Obviously I could. I don't know for sure what's going to happen. Hell, the tournament might not even happen this season. That could actually end up being saved till next season. But I would love to see that, honestly. I think it would be smart for Cobra Kai to win in this situation. But even if they don't, I honestly trust the writers and directors and everyone who worked on this. I know Ralph Macchio and William Zabka specifically had a lot of say and a lot of pull on how the series was directed and written and everything. They were very hands-on with the series, and which is so smart. Such a smart idea because they clearly know what this series needs to be and how it needs to feel like to be a proper successor to the Karate Kid films. So I'm very, very excited for what the future of this season and series holds for us. We shall see as we continue, though, so tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Cobra Kai? And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.